Hello everyone, once again Tim with Tim's Computer Repair. Hey, I'm building me a nice little custom built computer here for myself. I'll give you a little look at some of the parts that I'm going to be using here so we can take a look and see how it all looks and turns out. I'm going to be building me one here starting off with the Ryzen 9 5900X. So that's going to be my bad boy there. I'm also going with the Aorus X570 Aorus Master gaming motherboard by Gigabyte. PCI Express 4 ready. Should be a nice little board there. To cool my processor, I'm going to go with the smaller cooler here. This is the Kraken Z53. I don't need nothing too big, man. Just a dual rad there. No, just a 240 millimeter liquid cooler. I like this particular one. I spent a little bit more on it because I like the customization that you can do with the display there on the water block. So that's what I'm going to cool everything with. My video card is going to be MSI Supreme X 3070 Ti. This particular video card here, I got it a really good deal on a Newegg Shuffle, believe it or not, and it's supposed to be really good, a really good overclocker. So we're going to find that out. That's going to be my video card. I'm going to power everything with the EVGA 1000 G5 Supernova 1000 watt gold power supply. Got to be sure we have super good power for this build. The memory I'm going for is the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. This is DDR4, obviously. This is just 32 gig kit. 4 sticks of RAM are in here. 4 times 8 gigabytes each. This is the 4000 megahertz version. Also going with the Western Digital Black gaming drive. This is the SN850 model. This is a 1 terabyte, Gen 4, up to 7,000 megabits per second. That's a pretty high-end SSD right there. That's a 1 terabyte, and I got a scratch disk that I'm using here, which is just a regular Crucial BX500. This is a 2 terabyte version, just a regular scratch disk SSD for me. So I will have no mechanical drives in this build. And oh, let me show you the case I'm putting this in. This is the NZXT H710 case. That is what I've decided to go with. These are non-RGB fans. Now listen, I'm not huge on a case that lights up like a Christmas tree. A little bit of RGBs are good, nothing wrong with that. I'll have a little bit of RGB from my video card, a little bit from my cooler here, right? And I'll have some with my memory. And that's enough. I don't need this thing lighting up. This is going to be in my bedroom. I don't need it lighting up the place. Not really a big fan of those fans, haha. A lot of people talk about the cooling on this because it's got a solid front panel here. They talk about the cooling gets drawn in from the side. Hot air gets blown out through these sides. Listen, it'll be fine. Very well designed case. Nice, clean looking. I like it. Black. I love the darkness of the black. I don't really like the mesh fronts. That's my preference. Go ahead and sure you'll let me know your preference down in the comments. That's okay. Everybody has their preference. But this is the case I'm going with. Should perform well. A couple of USB 3s up top. USB Type-C and headphone jack. Power button. Simple, simple, simple. That's what I'm going with, everyone. So let's go ahead and get this little build started, shall we? If you know any of my previous build videos, I always like to test outside of the case first before I go through all the trouble of mounting all this in the case in case there's issues with processor, motherboard, whatever. I want to see this post, so if I have to do any troubleshooting before I put it in the case, I have the freedom of, or if I have to RMA anything, even the board, I have the freedom of that job being simple. So I've got everything plugged in. I'm using the Wraith's Prism cooler just as a temporary cooler. I'm not looking for best thermal performance. I'm just looking for a post. I want to see my data in the BIOS, and then after that, of course, I won't be using the Wraith for this. So, you know, I got all the parts in. Let me do the first power on of these components and confirm everything is in good shape. Power on. We got some RGBs going here. I have cleared the CMOS before I did this. Got our rebooting here. That's a good sign. Trouble code, hex codes there are still moving. That's a good sign. Bingo. We have post. I'm feeling good about this one. Oh yeah, XMP is disabled. I'm not too worried about that. Fans are looking good. That means most likely motherboard, processor, memory, and video card and power supply are all in good shape. Most likely. It's recognizing everything properly. I haven't enabled XMP. I'll do that after I get it in the case. All I know is yeah, I can definitely move forward. This is really good. 4,000 megahertz. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to hit the 4,000 megahertz XMP. XMP profile 1. Save and exit. Yes. So we're going to reboot. And we have post. Well, well, well. We are running at 4,000 megahertz, baby. Memory frequency. How about that? This is perfect. Let's move on with this build. This isn't the first time I've built with one of these NZXT H710 cases, but I'll give a quick rundown of this case. On the front we have three 120 millimeter standard black NZXT fans. On the rear we have one 240 millimeter black NZXT fan. Those come standard with the case. My cooler by Kraken will have two 240 millimeter fans powering it, and I'm thinking I'm going to be putting those up top. So we'll have 3 coming in, 3 going out. And I think that's the configuration I want to put this in without test fitting everything. I mean, I may put it up front here. I may put the fans up top. But this just makes more sense to me. 3 fans here, 2 up top, 1 in the rear. That's what makes the most sense to me. I like my water cooling fans up top, but we'll see how this goes. You know, the one thing I like about this NZXT case is the quick release for the side panel. Press the button, bang, it's out, right? None of these little screws and all that. The glass panel is similar, except there's no button. It just has 1 screw, but it kind of sits down at the base, similar to what this side panel here did. And you can see NZXT is always good about giving you places to do proper wire management. And a huge, nice opening here so you can access the back side of your motherboard for your socket and all that, if you ever want to change your cooler out or what have you, or install a cooler, which is what I'm going to be doing. You know, nice Velcro here for your wire management. And this is all of the USB 3. Yep, your USB 3 front panel connector there. Your audio up top. Looks like your fans here, which are split up into 3. You got an RGB connector here. I guess that might be for the light, for the power light, possibly. No, that is your Type-C, USB Type-C connector. Fooled me there with that cap on it. Nice place back here to mount your 2.5-inch SSDs. A couple of them back here. It also has a place in the front there. If you look down here, you can mount 2 more of them here. You have a place to mount your mechanical drives down here. Here's our accessory plate here. It looks like, yes, yep, this mounting caddy here is removable. That's really nice. Also, this panel here that sticks out in the front to hide your wire management, that is also removable if for some reason you don't want it there. I'm going to be as basic as I can with this one. I don't have any cable mods or anything like that. Nobody's really going to be looking at this but me, because this is going to be back in my bedroom, so yeah, we'll just try to keep it a bit simple. Anyways, that's pretty much the layout of this case. Pretty simple case. Not the cheapest case, but hey, everything in this video, I'll have links to everything in this video down in the chat. Just head down there, use my links, help support my channel, and I would really greatly appreciate that. Let's get going with this. Let's open up this accessory box here real quick. Your standard, for your audio, I see it's got a splitter. Okay, I like that. That'll work. You got some zip ties here. You know, your accessory screws, motherboard screws, standoffs, all that good stuff. This supports micro ATX, mini ATX, ATX, and eATX, I would have thought. Instruction manual, there you go. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Let's get the motherboard in this thing, yeah? Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I got these standoffs in the correct positions, and be sure that there's no extra standoff that's going to be touching the bottom of my board that doesn't need to be. So let's see, I'm just looking here at the layout of this, and they're all marked here too, so I'm just double checking. That looks right, that looks right. All the AUI ones that are marked, looks like those are the ones. Yep, that all looks right. So we're good to go on that. This has a built-in I/O shield, so we don't have to worry about that. I think we can go ahead and lay this board down in here. It's kind of tricky because I usually have a heat sink here I can grab onto, but we're going to be doing water cool, so this is going to be a little tight. Easy, easy, easy. I'm grabbing onto the 24-pin connector here just to kind of get it into place. Line everything up. Alright, it looks like that's got it. I got a little pin right here that's sticking up through the board. So that's sticking in there pretty good. It looks alright. I think that's what we're going to go now. A couple of things I check at this point before I mount everything down. My clearance up top here. I want to be sure I got enough clearance to pull my cables through to plug in my CPU power connectors. A lot of cases, which is another reason why I like this NZXT case, is once you mount this board, you find out that you really don't have a whole lot of room to pull those cables up through here, which makes you have to go backwards. It means you have to pull those cables through there first before you mount the motherboard. So that's something I always check before I mount everything down. I always check to make sure I look on this back side to make sure that the heat shield, the I/O shield on the back side looks okay, and I'm going to check that now. I'm liking that. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor this motherboard down. Open up my bag here and get my motherboard screws out. Let's identify that. That's them. Those are the motherboard screws. How about that? So always leave them just a little loose so we can move the board around as we need to. And let's go ahead and mount this. Okay, I have a motherboard screw in each of the standoffs. Once I have all of that, all the screws put in, I leave them loose because sometimes you have to push your board around a little bit to get the screws lined up because it might be a little tight sometimes. Now that they're all in, I'll just go back and snug them all down. All right, all the motherboard screws are in here. This board is nice and snug and tight. I really think that we need to most likely get this water cooler in here next. So let's see how that goes. We're going to test fit it. Okay, in order to gain access to the top panel, we have to remove this front panel first. So you just have to take the front of this, pull on in a little bit, apparently. Sometimes I'll take me a little pair of pliers just to kind of help it along a little bit. Squeeze and push like that. That'll kind of pop. There's another one up here. Yep, there's another one right here. Okay, and it kind of pops out like that. These are the little clips I'm talking about. You might have to pinch down just to help it along there. Oh, and look at there, that exposes a filter that I forgot to tell you about. And that's magnetic. So that's pretty cool. Has about the same type clips on both sides. So we have to get that off to mount our radiator. So I'm going to kind of help it along here a little bit to actually help this along. See there? Much, much easier. And that takes care of taking the top off. And that will expose the rack that we have to remove. And we're going to mount our water cooler on here. 4 screws here, thumb screws, and then your radiator bracket comes out just like that. Now what I'm going to do is get this mounted the way I want it. And I'm not really sure, I think, well, we'll have to just play with it. How about that? So let's just remove this and we'll get the case out of the way and we'll get that bracket mounted onto our cooler. Okay, this is my example of test fitting. See, I've just had this laid in here and I'm not sure if I'm liking that because I'm going to have to mount this sort of like this, which I don't know, may not be too bad, I guess. But the problem is I can't get to those cables up there, the CPU cables, power cables up there to get those plugged in properly unless there's no room at all to even, unless you plug those in beforehand. I know a lot of people have them over here. Let me rearrange this and put this over here and see what I can do about bringing it around, maybe under this RAM or something, I don't know. Okay, well, what I have decided with this case, and with this particular case, with this particular motherboard, I am not happy with how this cooler is mounting in here, and it's not going to be able to be done properly. I mean, it's pushing up against my board here, which I don't like. I can't mount this all the way flush with the fan. Too many things are just going wrong with trying to mount this up top. You may or may not find this problem out with the case and cooler that you use, but I've decided to abandon the top mount how I wanted. It's unfortunate, but you know what? I want to do it right. So now I'm going to look at mounting my water cooler here on the front. I was able to get my radiator sort of mounted up here temporarily. I want to have a look. I was able to actually squeeze in a third fan, which is really great news. The way I would like to mount this, I'd like to mount this maybe something like this. Something like that. I get a video card coming across here, so I'm not sure. I may have to raise these up a bit or what have you, which is okay. I don't know. It's about the best I'm going to be able to do with this, guys. I honestly, I'm at my wit's end with this cooler in this case. It's fine. But I'm really concerned that once I mount this cooler, that I'm not going to have room to put my 4th stick of RAM in this side, closest to the processor. Look how close that is. I won't know until I mount it. I mean, it might be in the way. Seriously, this might be in the way of the RAM. So here's what I was talking about having room for my memory right there. I think that is going to be super, super, super tight. I don't think it's going to work. So that's pushing on my RAM. That RAM is going in all sideways. It went in. It did go in. I'm going to look at that a lot harder, and I'm going to make a decision here. I mean, I've got the RAM to snap in. See, this has got play, this has got play, this has got a little less play. This has absolutely no play. It's in there solid. I think I've seen things online too where other people that's built their rig with and had this water cooler in there that it does kind of push on your RAM a little bit. But it went in. I don't think it's going to hurt it. I really don't. Pretty much I've got this NZXT cooler installed. I've got my RAM in nicely. I've got my 2 fans mounted up top here. That's all looking good. I haven't got my video card in yet. I'm going to be doing that here shortly. But I just want to let you know right now where I am with this. Of course, got all my fans good to go here. In the front, looking good. And a little bit of wire management in the back. So actually, you know, right now, at this point in time, I could probably put the top back on this guy. I could probably put the front back on this guy here. But before I do that, I'll tell you what I need to do. I want to go ahead and put the power supply in here. And I want to go ahead and put the video card in here. And I want to get those cables run to the power supply, to the video card, the motherboard, and plug in those fans so I can do a quick test to be sure everything is still in working order, and I can look at temperatures, and I can make sure all my fans are working how they should be. Then I can start to close it up and work on the wire management. Here it is after all the parts are installed and cable management has been achieved. I haven't put the panels back on the computer yet, but I just wanted to record real quick to kind of show you what the final product kind of looks like here. Not too bad. I really like the way my NZXT cooler ended up, even though I had to switch up how I was going to do things, we could say. I think the card looks great. There's a card brace here that I'm using that MSI provided that helps keep the card from sagging. I decided to use that because it's a pretty beefy card. My drives are installed. Let me turn it around and we'll open up the other side and kind of show you that. It's tucked back in there pretty good. I mean, this is the result here of the back side. They're always kind of a bear to get perfect, but you get it as close as you can. Here's where I mounted my 2 terabyte SSD here. Oh, by the way, this red wire here, this motherboard that I have here supports noise recording. Actually, it basically monitors the noise that's in the computer in decibels, and you can monitor that through software. I mean, it's a gimmick, but you know, it supports it, so why not, right? Some of this wire management in here includes, I even took the extra step, there's a couple of really small headers here, 2-prong headers There's one there and there's one down under here that actually has temperature probes. So the board supports that too. So I went ahead and installed them, tucked the wires back the best I could. I mean, why not? You're going to go all out here, but I think it turned out well. Let me go ahead and get this, get the side panel on. I'll turn it on. Here we are running. Got the side panel on, the glass side panel here. It's been running for about 10 minutes. Just sitting steady here. 28 degrees C. Let me put the panels totally on. Then we'll let it run for 10 minutes and see if there's any difference. But all panels on, front, top, side. And we're looking at 30 degrees. That's 2 degrees from with the panels off. And I think every case, honestly, with all the panels off of it, will run a little cooler than, no matter if it's front mesh or whatever. So, you know, I think that's the case of all cases, not just because that this has every case. If you run a similar setup with no panels on at all, and you compare the temperatures for when all the panels are on, you're going to get a degree or two difference. Okay, the big question is, let's put this baby under a load and let's have a look, but we'll do that in another video. I just figured I would touch on it. But this is the final result, everyone. It really looks better in person than it does on camera. Like I say, I'm not a big fan of RGBs. I like the clean look of this case. And it was fun to build. Could have some fun on this machine. Links to all of these items that I've used in this video will be down under this video in the description area. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great YouTube day. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you head right down below here, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. That would be really awesome. I have much more computer repair videos coming your way. There's also a bell you can click for to get notifications for my videos. I really appreciate everybody's support. And as usual, everyone, until next time, see you soon.